Hello and welcome to Recruiting in Hospitality from caterer.com. As ever, I'm Lancelot Narayan, and in each programme, we discuss recruitment, development and retention with top guests from the world of the UK hospitality industry. Now, I'm quite proud to be able to say that since its inception, caterer.com has been a strong supporter and sponsor of the hospitality charity Only a Pavement Away, which helps ex-offenders, the homeless, ex-service people, helps them with their social circumstance and gets them work and careers in the hospitality industry. It's a fantastic charity started by Greg Mangum, who's an old friend of ours, and he's been on the program many times. In this past year, they've been very busy, and they've only got themselves an ambassador, and I think you can guess who it is. It's my absolute pleasure once again to welcome Tom Aikens. Hello, Tom.
How you doing?
Not
Hello,
bad.
hello.
It's good to see you. Good to see you. It's a miserable day, but let's cast some sunshine.
I know.
Yeah.
The weather has been pretty bad compared to last year, that's for sure. I think we're all in our shorts and bikinis this time last year.
Yeah, we were. We weren't allowed to go anywhere, but that's.
No,
Tom, tell me about your role as ambassador for Only a Pavement Away. How did it come about?
So basically, as obviously COVID struck, the country, in full swing, sort of, from March onwards last year, and we're kind of all sort of left with our hands like, what do we do? What's going on? No one kind of really knew, and I think all of us kind of had this sort of chunk of time that we kind of had a void in, where obviously work stopped, and then we're kind of like, okay, we're now going to have X amount of time off. What do we do with ourselves? And as you would have seen, I think many people did live cooking classes. Lots of people took up home baking and bread making and God knows what else. And I just thought, okay, I'm going to do all that anyway, but let's see if there's something that I can try and use my time wisely and get involved in a charity. And there are lots of charities that obviously everyone is supporting, from obviously children's charities to hunger and hospitality in action and things like this. And I just wanted to do something with a charity that I guess needed a bit more support and a bit more of a leg up, and one that wasn't, I guess, sort of on the lips of everyone. And I think the one thing that we all see, around London is still a lot of homeless people, and I think particularly in those troubled times that we had of COVID, and the people that weren't sort of getting any help, weren't getting any attention, and that's really where I wanted to try and focus on those that were kind of left sort of at the bottom of the pile. And I think with Only a Pavement Away, when we reached out to them, they were more than thrilled and happy that I wanted to become involved and to see where I could help. And I think as a chef, there are obviously ways that I can help, but also as a voice and in terms of exposure for them and getting their name out a little bit more than they have been, was kind of the first priority. So we kind of sat down and sort of looked at where I could potentially help. And then because of, we're all stuck at home, we just thought a quick way, an easy way of trying to get people involved and to get the name out. That's where we came up with the 5-minute challenge, where you basically create a dish of your choice. You have 5 minutes, you can use whatever ingredients you like, and then you donate £5 and you nominate 5 others. So I then contacted lots of chefs, got them all involved, and some did amazingly well, and some still put the effort in, and some dishes were a little bit dodgy, but they still did it. And that really sort of took off. And then on the back of that, we then because I guess the people doing it, they got a lot out of it, and we just thought there's probably something else here that we could do and do a cookbook out of it. So we then again contacted all the chefs and said, look, we're thinking of doing a cookbook from this because the response has been so great. Would you mind your recipe being involved in that? And all of them, obviously the ones that we did contact, said absolutely. So we then in the last part of, the last lockdown, we then did the recipes, did proper photo shoot, and made a recipe cookbook out of it. So in a way, it's become, a massive project, and a good project, a fun project. And I think for those that, want to have an amazing cookbook done by a whole host of amazing chefs throughout the UK.
Yeah.
And biggest thing really is, as we all are so time conscious these days, and we want to have something that is quick, that is easy and fun, it ticks all the boxes. Because a lot of the recipes, there is some obviously, prep that needs to be done, but in effect, you are taking, a professional chef 5 minutes. So hopefully general public will take maybe 10 minutes to do it. And there's also a video as well. So you can use your phone, use the QSR code on it, and then you've got a video as well. So not only have you got the picture, you've got the recipe, plus there's a video of the chef doing it for you as well. So
that's
in a way,
brilliant. Yeah.
It's brilliant cookbook. I think it's probably one of the first where you've got a recipe and a video, which I think is probably a sign of the future to come, where you use your phone, click on a QSR code, and away you go. Perfect.
Yeah, great fun. Yeah. I just hope they didn't show some of my colleagues. I hope the code doesn't take you to some of them and their kitchen disasters over the past year. Great fun for us all, but not the best way. But it's a fantastic idea, and we'll talk a little bit more about that a little later. Let's talk about the work of Only a Pavement Away a little bit. I've been reading up some statistics, recent statistics, and the numbers are quite shocking, as I'm sure you'd agree. Last year alone, during the pandemic, there were over 10,000 people sleeping rough and that's in London alone, right? 976 people died without a permanent home last year. And in the last 5 years, there's been a 55% increase in homelessness. Now, how does Only a Pavement Away immediately help those people facing homelessness? How can they help?
So basically, there's many ways, obviously, that they have helped. It's an amazing charity in terms of getting people, who either have been, as you said, ex-servicemen, or those who've fallen on hard times. They basically get them onto a program where they can go, use the hospitality industry as a skill basis. So they're taking homeless people and getting them back on their feet and helping them, in terms of housing, in terms of food, in terms of their own personal development, and giving them, a skill, obviously, that can be used into hospitality. So, it could be anywhere from, becoming a chef. It could be obviously at the bottom of the ladder, becoming, a kitchen porter, or, going into, waitering or waitressing and things like this. So it's a great resource because of, I think, the problems that we are now facing in the industry, as you're fully aware of, not only obviously having COVID, but also Brexit has really left, a massive void in the industry. And I think for us to utilize those that are already skilled in something else and bringing them in the industry, which, as you know, will fully welcome these people, because for them, they've been given a second chance, they've been given a second opportunity. It's a charity that will really help them in terms of, giving them the essential skill, the resources, and also in terms of, the mental strength that is needed, and coach them. And I think in terms of, having this charity that is basically going to be that is going to be going through, obviously, not only sort of helping them at the very beginning, but it's not like, okay, we're going to take this person, turn them around, and they then, okay, say that's that done. They're there, to help them ongoing with making sure that they're fitted in where they are, they are fully coached. And also in terms of, the employer as well, having someone like that, that has come through obviously hard times. And it's just, I just think it's a massive help for everyone, in terms of putting people back on their feet.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, on a personal level, as a restaurateur, have what's your experience been during lockdown? What have you witnessed a widening skills gap?
Well, unfortunately, fortunately, so touch wood, we've been very lucky that we haven't, we haven't lost any members of staff, apart from one Italian chef that went, he had to go home for personal reasons, family reasons anyway. But we've managed to keep hold of all our staff. But there is obviously those that haven't been so fortunate. I mean, I think for a large part of the bigger part of the industry, which is the hotels, I think they're kind of definitely suffering because of their business has been completely closed. They haven't had anyone staying in the hotel, so they've pretty much let go a large proportion of all their staff. And now there is a massive void, I think, in trying to get people recruited back to work in this country.
Do you think
And
you'll have had to make changes to the way they recruit?
I think there is going to have to be, because I think the general way that we recruit is obviously through job boards, through websites, through agencies, etc. If the amount of staff that is required for hotels is just I think Phil, it's going to be very difficult to recruit them. The large sector of that industry was requiring on expats, so out of the UK, Europeans, largely, I would probably say, and a lot of them, as we've seen, have now decided to stay. If they have gone back, sort of during COVID or because of Brexit, there's probably better opportunities now for them, in their own countries, rather than coming back, to the UK because of Brexit and because of the increasing costs and kind of the unknown questions of, are they going to need visas? Who's going to pay for the visa? Is it going to be on the employer? Is it going to be on the employee? There's still all these unanswered questions that no one really knows.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, how can the work of Only a Pavement Away benefit the industry? You touched on it briefly, but how can it benefit the industry as a whole? How can it work as a great solution for employers?
But I think, yeah, I mean, as I said to you, that the skills sector that the industry is short on, is a whole host of different ones, from, as I said, from kitchen porters to commis chefs to chef de parties. I think trying to find a chef de partie is like finding liquid gold on the streets of London. It's just like unheard of these days. And having, as I said, having this pool of people and resources that they will now have, to be able to to tap into, what I think will be a huge benefit for those that are looking for added staff. And the problem has been, I think, because of Only a Pavement Away hasn't got a sort of a sexy name as such. It's been, I think, difficult to connect to hospitality industry. So I think the larger picture of trying to get people knowing and in the knowledge of that there is this charity that is really there to help us, to help the hospitality sector in getting more staff, getting those positions filled, I think will really help. And my whole message in this is trying to help to spread that word and to get those that are coming through into other sectors of the hospitality.
Well, being an ambassador, obviously, it means a lot to you. You can just tell that, and I can see from the work you've been doing with the charity. And you don't just want to be a name, just a masthead. What more are you doing in terms of strategies for Only a Pavement Away and initiatives that are going to bring those vital funds in?
Yeah, so we've planned sort of at the end of not quite at the end of the year, but it's sort of in the third quarter of the year, an event that we've done together called the Only a Pavement Away charity Cook and Dine event, which is happening in September on the 15th, and for 250 people. But sadly, it's all sold out quite a while ago.
Got my ticket. Got my ticket.
You have?
Yeah.
There you go. Perfect. So, no, listen. Again, it's a fun. It's going to be a really fun event for the industry, and again, it's a great way to publicise the industry. All the people that are there are going to be there because they know about Only a Pavement Away. A lot of the people that are actually working on the floor, working in the kitchen, will come from the charity as well. I'll be there in the kitchen. serving the food, cooking the food, delivering the food. And then in terms of the start of the soup, because we also did a soup campaign in the lockdown as well, which is kind of very similar to what we did before, where people, it's more of an awareness thing, where we're getting people to, to cook a soup up and again donate some money to the charity. So we had quite a large number of people that created some really interesting and quirky soups, which is again when people think of boring soup, but it can be really interesting, can be really exciting. So we then picked a winner and we said, okay, let's make the winner do the starter for the Cook and Dine event. So so I can't really pronounce. The winner is from the Game Bird, the Stafford, and he was also she was a semi-final of the MasterChef UK. Nicole, I can't remember pronounce the name sadly, but it's Theo Fekadu. Really badly pronunciation, but anyway, she did a soup of artichoke and apple, and that will be the starter, and then I'll be doing the main course and dessert as well. So again, that's one of the events that we've done. And then there's also, we've just started on is the life skills, the life skills hub as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about this. Yeah. Tell us a bit more about that, and how do you work with the delegates?
So basically, it's a very interesting new thing that they've just started. So basically, this centre will be used to train those that are being either rehoused and re-employed, and also get them to understand how to live independently on their own, and they'll also help them in terms of their own skills and tools to get them back on their feet. So they'll be running two different courses, and they'll be running so these pilots were 3-week courses, and at the end of that they will get a qualification that will take them to NVQ level 1 with two certificates as well, and then each participant and candidate will get a OAP life skills course certificate as well at the end of it. So it's basically different levels of training, but then also on the other side of that, from a sort of an employer side of it, they'll also be sort of helped in terms of basic stuff from CV writing to interviewing skills to IT to budgeting and sort of additional support as well. That'll be not solely on sort of on the cooking side or on the managing side, but also sort of basic skill levels as well that they can be taught as well, which is obviously the other side of as hospitality, which is just as important.
Fantastic. I mean, it's really good to see you so heavily involved in what Only Pavement Away is doing. It's brilliant, and we're going to be talking to Greg Mangum, founder of the charity as well, very shortly, with some people that have been helped by the charity too. It's great. When's the cookbook actually coming out, Tom?
The cookbook is going to be out, I think, in literally where are we today? 13th of May. I think it's going to be out in about a month's time. I think it is.
Right, it's gone, because I do believe it's gone to print already.
It has, yeah, it has. Yeah. So we turned it around very, very quickly. I mean, we did when we got the sort of the green light to go, we literally did the recipes, did the pictures and everything, and got it to the publishers, I think, in literally 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So it was great, really good. And I had some nice chefs that came along and helped as well, so they've all been mentioned in the book, and a lot of suppliers that I used also helped. So it was amazing, suppliers like Woods and Smith and Brock, people like that have contributed. So so it's great to have those people on board as well.
That's brilliant. And Cook and Dine's happening in September. Very much looking forward to that. It was great. It was fabulous last year, and I'm sure it's going to be even better this year. You're opening again next week. Muse is opening. Yeah. So what? Yeah,
on Tuesday.
On Tuesday. So what? Can you give us an exclusive? What can we expect?
So again, it's we've been working on the menu the last sort of 2-3 weeks, and kind of just slowly tweaking it and making more sort of, you know, smaller tweaks and changes. But we've got a whole new menu. I've kept a couple of literally like 2 signature dishes on. But my whole philosophy on this is, you know, it's all about surprises and surprising people with what we're trying to do. So I never really like to give too much away. So again, I'm sort of keeping it's sort of little stories. So each dish has, you know, 3 ingredients on it. There's a little catchphrase as to what it is, so they haven't got a clue what they're going to be eating. So that's the whole fun with it, you know,
Yeah.
until you actually get it in front of you, then you know, oh wow, okay, it's this. So, and it's nice because it's a, as I said, it's an authentic way that we do it. You know, there's a sort of heartfelt story with each dish. So in a way, it's, you know, it's a lot more sort of laid back and fun, I think, for people as well.
It's great. I visited you a few months ago, if you recall, and we just the bread alone, we stuffed ourselves on the on the bread, and that amazing butter as well. Anyway, I'm telling everybody, if you can get a table
Well,
at
the
Muse,
bread and butter definitely is staying, that's for sure.
yeah,
Not
good.
changing that.
That's good. But it was a very. I'm not going to give anything away, but the butter was very special, I must say.
Yeah.
It was terrific. It was terrific. Tom, I'm so glad that you're involved in Only a Pavement Away. I've spoken to you previously on other subjects, and I'm so glad that you're involved with Only a Pavement Away. And I'm sure we'll be speaking again in the future.
Absolutely,
I want to
yeah.
thank you for your time today.
Pleasure.
It's been great.